All right, team, welcome to Marathon on Mondays, and this is the New York City Marathon episode with the legend in my world, and maybe new to a lot of you, Mr. Knox Robinson.
Good to see you. Good to see you. It's good to see the smiling face. I missed it.
It's there, it's always there when I'm getting miles in.
Yeah,
Good to see you, albeit I'm sad that we are no longer city neighbors, but
yeah, true.
good to see you in your singlet rocking the West Coast heat.
Yeah, for sure.
Whilst the rest of us are over here getting ready for winter running.
Mm.
But so guys, Knox and I met in the years of Nike when we were running with the swoosh for a long time. Knox a lot longer than I was there, but Knox is like one of my mentors with Coach Bennett, and we spent time in a lot of cities, a lot of random cities.
We did have a lot of wild combos in a lot of wild cities. I think Berlin for sure. Obviously New York.
On the outside of Milan at Breaking 2.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, yep. And I think Knox has probably been, for me, one of the fastest and most accomplished runners who ever kicked my butt when I was like, I don't think I can run fast. He was like, yo, all right, don't talk to me until you change that mindset.
Right. You're still on that. You're like, I'm chill. And I was like, wait, what did you just do in the marathon last year? So you're still on that. I was like, all right, it's fine.
It's fine. That's just our attitude. But I feel like you're like that, dude. Like, you are insanely fast, very talented runner. Have run multiple marathons, but countless different distances, not just marathon distance. And you never know what Knox Robinson is going to pull out the bag.
Oh, that's a fair description. I like that. That's favorable. That's definitely how I see myself, how I live my life, for sure. I mean, I'm a specialist in all styles. So for me, the challenge of the mile is a thought problem on the level of, the Comrades Marathon at 56 miles. So I like to, much to my detriment sometimes, run the gamut of these events, and not casually or cavalier either way. I mean, I've raced a lot, so I've shown up to races less than my best, but I definitely go into things with at least cursory preparation. I'm not gonna show up for a mile race with to get beat like that. And I'm not gonna show up to Comrades Marathon for 56 miles without at least trying to do some like overlong runs or with a lot of miles on my legs. It hasn't turned out well, but at least going into it, my heart was in the right place.
And that, if anything, is incredible advice right there. Of like, who knows? I describe running as Russian roulette, and that's not just race day. Anytime you lace those trainers up, it's Russian roulette. You have no idea if it's really going to be a great run, even if you have trained your butt off to the exact second of what your coach prescribes. You can still go out and be like, that sucked. It all went wrong. Why?
That's wild. You really think that? I think the opposite.
I love that.
Yeah. I was griping to somebody the other day. Like, once you've already done the training, once you've already done work at a certain level, the whole idea is that you've like habituated your body and your mind to those stressors. And so, not that I toe a starting line with supreme confidence, but there aren't, and I've had bad races. I've had surprises. I've had nightmarish races. Sometimes due to weather, sometimes due to overnight soy-soaked oatmeal. Mistakes have been made, but nevertheless, on a physiological and a mental level, yeah, the work is there to be done. Now, I don't see a lot of folks doing it, but that's a different conversation.
True. I get that with the mental game.
Yeah.
And personally, I'm very much with you on that respect. Like, as long as I know my mind can do it, that's not Russian roulette for me. I'm thinking the body, like, you could trip on a water bottle within the first mile of the longest race you've ever done. Or you could, I don't know, forget every coach's advice and pick up some of those spare gels that they like to give you on race day,
Wow.
and upset your stomach.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. No, that's the amazing thing about marathon is that like it's so addictive because there's so many things that can go wrong. I mean, that's what's so incredible about it. Weather, poor choices, you know, pacing, and anything can go wrong. And it's not so much that so many things can go wrong, but after you finish one, you immediately start thinking about what you can do to go back and like fix the little things and do better the next time. And that's when it becomes an obsession. And here we are.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. That's why we keep going back for more and more of this marathon juice. That's for sure. Yeah. Yikes. So did you figure out how many times you've run New York Marathon?
I've run 10 New York City marathons.
10 New York City marathons. And you've been on the front cover of New York Times, right?
I've been on the cover of Runner's World and Outside and some stuff like that. But I've been. Oh no, you're right. No. Oh wait, you're right. People think I'm
my muscles there.
Yeah. No, you're right. No, you're right. I've been on the cover twice. Thank you very much for stroking my ego. I forgot. Yeah. I've been on the cover of the New York City, the New York Times twice.
Yes. Which I was on the. I don't know. That is a feat that is it the first 100?
Well, let me back up. The first year I was on, it's the shot was a helicopter aerial view of the Verrazano as the pack is going over the pack from the high view. And because to our earlier comments about making mistakes, I went out so fast that I know where I am on that bridge because I'm in the front of the pack, or like I'm running in the front. So I was like, well, I bombed out in my first marathon, but at least I made the cover of the New York Times. As a New Yorker, it's like nobody cares about your time, but you're on the front page of the Times. That's cool.
Yeah, whatever industry you're in, if you make it to the front, who cares?
I've been on the front page. So then lightning struck twice. The second time I was on, it was another shot of the bridge, but this, I was in a little tiny pack with Lance, who was paced by Alberto Salazar. And then on the other side of him was my homie, Herman Silva, who to this day is a very dear friend and two times New York City Marathon winner, and today a close friend and a collaborator on some projects down in Mexico and worldwide. So yeah, I'm in a rather notorious group. It's me kind of cut a little off the little crop, and then Herman, Lance Armstrong, and Alberto Salazar. Like definitely.
My God. All conversation starters within their own right in sports.
Yeah, for sure.
That is so super cool. That is so cool. And I think anybody who knows Knox, and I'm sure a lot of you out there watching this know Knox, and you just know when Knox is coming through. If you're a spectator at a race, and I have been at a few where you've been coming through, it's like a legend does come through. It's like, this dude, we know him. You have a very specific running style or form. Which I guess anyone can say. Once you get to know somebody as a runner, you know their form, and you can see them, you can pick them out. But it's awesome to watch. So I think it was you obviously caught the cameraman's eye twice.
Yeah. I mean, you get lucky at these things, but man, like for me, for my first marathon, that again, like so many folks first. The first half was incredible, right? So I'm flying, and the first time I came through Lafayette Avenue, mile 6, 7, I had been living in that neighborhood as a non-runner, like right out of college, and I had learned everything. I mean, like my whole adulthood kind of like unraveled in this neighborhood. And for me to come down the avenue and see like my barber and ex-girlfriends and like drug dealers I knew, and like everybody was out on Marathon Sunday and they're looking at me like, yo, that's our guy, like, or whatever, like, and then just the deafening roar of like this most amazing neighborhood, my son out there, like just handing me a water bottle every year. The first year, I don't normally quote Drake, but I was like, I want this forever. Like I came down Lafayette Avenue and I was like, oh, I'm doing this every year for the rest of my life. Like, no question.
Yep, that feeling of just that, the raw, the invisible. You feel invisible, but you feel so seen at the same time. And
Yeah,
it's a beautiful feeling. So that was your first year.
yeah.
How did you feel when you crossed the finish line that year?
Yo, I like a lot of guys, like coming from like, I ran a little bit in college. I was kind of in shape. This was before the running boom. This was before the hype era. This was 2000 and this might have been 2004. I qualified for New York City Marathon in my first race back to running. I got a high placing at the Brooklyn Half. In my first race back, I ran like 73 minutes or whatever and got, entry into New York. So I was like, okay, cool. So, of course, the mistake, you run 113 at the Brooklyn Half, you think you're running 230 in New York. So all year I'm like training to run 230.
Why wouldn't you? I mean, there's no bridges or hills or anything.
It's fine. It's chill. Just do the math. And of course you can do it, so I'm doing all my little runs and everything. And so, yeah, I go through the halfway mark on the bridge in like 1:15, you know what I mean? 1:15 in 1 second or whatever. And we got to the other side of the bridge and this dude ahead of me started walking. And you know those old cartoons when someone's stranded on like a desert island and they see like a woman in a bikini, but it turns into like a banana float, a banana split, or like an ice cream sundae. This dude walking in front of me looked like a banana split. Like, I was like, oh my God, that looks so delicious. I'm going to try walking just for a little bit. I'm just going to walk a little bit and then I'm going to start running again. And wow, I ended up walking and jogging for the entire second half of the race. I got up on the Upper East Side and my boss's wife was out there with his kids and she's screaming, Knox. And I just, in my haze, I just turned and looked at the kid and he had one of those like Uptown Bodega muffins with like M&Ms in the top and all this frosting. Yeah. And I legit ran over and grabbed it out of his hand and just started eating half of it like in my face and then like shoved it back to the kid and like kept going. 2 months later, I saw the mom at the company Christmas party. She said, "You terrorized my son so badly."
That kid's never gone to watch a New York City Marathon ever again.
For real. So yeah.
God. I hope you sent her a basket of muffins for Christmas.
Oh my gosh. Well, I got fired, so I didn't send her anything.
Damn! Wow. So what was your finish time in the end after your 75-minute half?
It's 2:59, 2:57. I must say, since you're at the level, I've run 30 marathons. All of them have been under 3 hours. You know what I mean?
30 marathons, all under 3 hours.
Average 2:45. Average 2:45. It's some days off year, some days, little GI distress from some overnight soaked oatmeal and.
Yeah. Hey, we all have those moments in our races.
Right.
There's always one person as well on Strava who's like, hey, what happened at mile 15? You're like, what the fuck happened at mile 15?
Right, exactly. Don't talk to me. Yeah.
I didn't just stop for the fun of it.
I was hoping we were going to get on here and just like laugh about different races because I don't get that enough. And so if you have some real questions, cool. But I do want to say the GI distress year was incredible because it was in the Nike era. Yeah. And I had like a wealthy friend was over out of town and threw me the keys to his like posh bachelor pad in the Village. And so I was like, oh, this is perfect. I'll just hide out from everybody and hide out from all the marathon hype. I'll go and do the Nike coaching. We'll do the shakeout run. And then I can just disappear. And there's no danger of me getting to my usual hijinks. I'm going to have an awesome race. So his kitchen in this immaculately appointed apartment bachelor's pad had all like rich dude bachelor food in there, like the lentils and the steel cut oats and everything, whatever. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. I'll take this soy milk and I'll soak these oats and I'll put some banana and all that. Yo, I got out into the race and I was like, oh, good training food is not good racing food. It was the first time in my life including school age years, that I ever made such a mistake. I've only ever eaten half a banana and half a bagel, dry, nothing on it, just munching, just whatever.
Yeah.
And I went out there and just like had this amazingly rich steel cut oats. So I'm doing my usual pace, and I'm having to pull off to the side, pull behind a gas station, whatever, zero remorse.
Mm-hmm.
And the time I lose, I keep jockeying up into the next pace group, right?
Mm-hmm.
The next pace group is a bunch of dudes. I'm running, say, I'm like 240 shape, 245 shape. The next pace group is like, given what I would do, lose in 10 minutes, the next pace group was like 255 guys who really want to break 3. So they're trying, shout out to all your followers who are 255 guys. I know how hard it is.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how annoying it would be where it was boom, I was there, and then I would disappear.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden I'm running next to them again. So I ended up jockeying back and forth with this group the whole race. I feel so bad. Dudes were so distracted.
What is this dude doing?
Right. They're just trying to like break 3. They're just trying to run their little 258, their 255. And here comes Knox Robinson, like, zoo, 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 zoo.
You're like the annoying father who's like, hi, bye, bye.
Right. It happened like all race.
Miserable. Honestly, that I love that you are a dry food. It sounds like dog food chat. Dry food eater before races.
Yeah.
I'm literally like dry rye, like the thin European rye.
Sure.
The only sweetness I might have is a strawberry or like 1 or 2 strawberries. And that's about it. It's so weird. It's so odd. I used to have avocado before, but I'm so sure that's what made me stop at 15.5 on multiple races.
Right. Exactly.
Like, those fats are not necessary before a race.
For real.
Oh God.
I will say this while I'm talking about this was like my only GI distress experience, but it ended up being like one of the best races of my life because once I got everything sorted and I'm just chilling, I'm like, all right, let me enjoy the day, cruise on into the finish, kind of like helped a woman on 5th Avenue, kind of like dial down to 257, whatever, that's big. And then I was just doing my own thing on 59th Street, and I'm cruising on in, and all of a sudden, Herman Silva, 2-time winner, and my friend from training in Mexico zips up on me. He's like, come on, Knox, we're going to the finish. And, I'm hyped. So I'm like, oh, I'm definitely going to finish thing. Moments later, he starts sprinting, and we start running 5-minute pace. Like,
and you guys,
and then I realized,
if you haven't run New York Marathon, 59th Street is not close to the finish line. It's a ways.
But this dude, it was the 30th anniversary of his win. And, the year he won it in 93, 94, his first one, 94, he follows the motorcade into the park, and he takes the wrong entrance first. So he's running first and second with this other dude. He runs, goes off course, doubles back, hunts the guy down, and kicks for the win. So I realize he's reliving the memory in his mind, and he starts running like 5 minutes. And I was like, well, there's no way I'm going to get dropped and not finish with my homie on his anniversary. Yeah. But like, I'm going all out. We're going past the bleachers and the roars, all that. And I'm going all out just out of pure ego.
Yeah.
And we're coming up on the finish line, and my man pulls out an iPhone 3C. Remember the plastic one that was like yellow and blue? My man goes on Facebook Live as we're finishing, running 5-minute pace. And he's like, oh, estoy Herman Silva, estoy campeón de maratón en Nueva York, celebrando mi aniversario de ganar. And I was like, yo, my man was like talking to his fans at 5-minute pace as I'm like holding onto his shoulder as best I can. So it was like the most comedic finish of the most hilariously, darkly comic marathon start for me.
But cemented you guys as friends forevermore.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
You knew you could just roll with him all the way.
The worst.
Oh my gosh. I can't. Yeah. I think New York is one of those races that you need you need to be able to enjoy the people on the sidelines, because if you like, there's certain marathons in my opinion that you can sort of just zone out. You hear them and they obviously give you that wave to ride on, but I know especially the point in the pack where you and I run, or like I do now, you've run for decades, is empty.
Yeah.
Like mine last New York City Marathon, going through the Bronx, I was like, yes, get to see Big Ten Bronx, I get to see all those guys. I come through and I'm like, what? They're not here yet? Oh, I was genuinely like, I'm missing out. This sucks. So
It's deep.
Yeah, you have to think, like, you have to pull all of those elements in that you can. Like, you see someone like Haman and you're like, I'm catching on to you, and I'm going like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I've got so many images in my mind of people like Beefy at one point just on the edge of the Bronx. Like, he just appeared in the middle of the road with his camera, like all of his attitude, like, Bex. I'm like, geez, I haven't spoken to you or seen you in years, but yeah, right. What's up? I'll take this love.
You have to, right? It's like New York, it's an energy city, right? And like, so the marathon and stuff, but that's what makes New York so mentally tough, is because no other marathon in the world, you have to navigate the energy of the greatest city in the world. So you have to navigate all this passion, all these amazing neighborhoods and people really turning out. But then you also have to navigate a challenging course, and also the vicissitudes of a 26.2 mile foot race. So all those things all told make it a really, really challenging mental puzzle to unlock, really, honestly. Like the last time I PR'd on, the last time I ran it rather successfully as a peak fitness, but I really spent the time ahead, like unlocking the course and like, where did I need to receive energy? Where did I need to put out energy? Where did I need to like mitigate my energy? Where did I need to sublimate energy? So New York is wild thought problem for sure. It's incredible.
If you had to pick one area of New York that you found your best challenge, what part would it be?
I think the unlock is First Avenue. I went back and kind of like looked at the comments and the commentary of past winners, and like looked at, you know, when athletes made their break or when people fell off, and also I've had challenges like First Avenue just stretches wide, there's no shade, and even though the fans are really passionate, the roadway is so wide that like you can really kind of get lost in like a white space. You can really get lost in like a negative space, and then the sun can just bear down and like reflect off the patina of the pavement, and it can just be really intense. In addition, there's like some climbing there too. So
yeah, First
Avenue requires the most mental fortitude in terms of a peak performance. Now there's other challenges all the way along, the solitude of the Bronx. I sometimes some of these other kind of numinal challenges I like. The challenges, the physical challenge of running up Fifth Avenue uphill, depleted. That's a challenge to counter for sure. But as far as the unlock of the race, it seems classically speaking to be First Avenue. And you know, the year I was thinking about that, man, I was really thinking about this thing I had been meditating on, this idea from a Korean Buddhist monk out here in LA, actually, who said that in the mind of the beginner, the possibilities are endless, but in the mind of the master, the possibilities are few. And I thought about a lot about that idea, especially in my marathon preparation. And I was like, oh, so if I aspire to mastery, and this was a few years ago because we don't really like use the word master so much anymore. But if I aspire to mastery, then I got to know what I'm doing. And that's why I like honed in on First Avenue. The race went off, and even there, I was running with a young dude on my team, and I could just see him as we went down Fourth Avenue in Brooklyn, like talking to another English dude, and they were talking about soccer clubs, and dudes are like all packed up, you know, that pace, that the pack is so big and everyone's talking about the pace and this guy knows it and this guy does it and everyone's chattering. And I was like, wow, y'all have endless possibilities. You guys are just like talking about anything and what's going to happen on the day. And I'm out here thinking only about unlocking First Avenue.
Wow.
But, you know, on a spiritual level, after much meditation and reflection, that's not actually the real or the deeper understanding. It's actually that as we aspire to mastery, we must always cultivate and maintain a beginner's mind. You know, the master is always open to all possibilities. The master is really aspires to that childlike view of the world and that openness, you know. And I think, you know, those are sort of the qualities that we see in some of the champions, like even as different as Mo Farah and Eliud Kipchoge are different in temperament, they do have that openness and that curiosity and that inquisitiveness that really marks a beginner's mind, even that those guys are at the highest levels of the sport. So yeah, I got it right on the day. I hit a PR, I was in shape, but you know, the lesson was needed a little bit more study.
I love that. And that's something that to me, hearing you say that and speak those words about your running specifically would be kind of reflects into how you so fearlessly go from, as you say, the mile to comrades. From any run, you are to me a beginner and a master in both senses of any distance in running. Like I would have no qualms in coming to you and being like, Knox, I'm gonna go for 5K training. You'd probably be like, dude, you're not gonna be good at that, but let's try and master it. But I can see now, hearing you say that, like how you as a runner, but also as a coach at Black Roses, how you take that mindset and encourage people to find new ways of looking at these distances. Like just a few people that I know vaguely on your team, and having seen them change from different distances as well, of being, you know, you've helped pull them out and given them an idea of maybe the mile is for you, but you've been running marathons all your life and you've taught them how to discover the beauty in a mile, and that it's not, you know, most marathoners think a mile is nothing because, you know, we run 26.2, what's a mile? But right. that change in them, and I love, very much. I just love that idea of beginner and master, like that combination.
Well, yeah, and you know, that's a credit to the kind of folks that find themselves, for better for worse, in Black Roses NYC. I mean, it's an incredibly eclectic group, and on occasion they can take a pretty picture. So I think it's understandable if, you know, you would think that there's like a casting, you know, from the Benetton agency for the group or whatever, because it is a pure reflection of New York in terms of diversity and different backgrounds and interests.
You guys have been doing that for years. You're not just, you know, that's just not just a 2020 thing. You guys, that's in your group, your crew forever.
Yeah, but it's a personality type. You know, as Hunter S. Thompson might have described them, like God's own prototypes, you know. Like they are really, there's something in each of the members that has some work to do.
Yeah.
And I think that almost all of the members have a relationship with running that sees running as a tool bench, that sees running as like a place of sanctity to come and get the work done. I mean, some folks like fancy sneakers. Some folks like to stunt on Instagram. Some folks, you know what I mean, like to be jazzy.
Yeah.
Some folks like to be wild in the club. But really, I think everyone like has a similar relationship with running as like a place of self-development and self-exploration. And that can be challenging. That can be frightening. That can be very intimidating, certainly to do it by oneself. And likewise in the context of others. So I really got a lot of respect, like baseline respect, for anybody in Roses, and actually anybody who's come into Black Roses and quit. It's still the same personality type attracted them in the first place. So I got a lot of love for anybody who was attracted to the ideas upon which the squad is founded.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You guys are like my ideal. I'm always just intimidated by running on track and all sorts of scary things. Slash, whenever any crew seems to be running together, I seem to be teaching on the tread. So I maintain my I'm a solo runner. But no, I mean I've had the pleasure of running briefly in a lot of races. I seem to find myself next to somebody from the Roses.
Nice.
Consistently the Roses. It's not other crews. It's honestly most of my races. I can think there's been a point where I've pulled up or they pulled up next to me and we've just clocked a few miles in and gone about the rest of the race.
You know, and that's an easily overlooked thing. I think maybe because I have like an outsized personality, or I don't know, we make it look like it doesn't look like running or something. I don't really know. I don't like spending any time thinking about that. But you know, we are out there and it's a small group. I mean, it's like 20 or 30 people. Mm-hmm. It's never been a big group. But like, yeah, we're in the streets, like we're at races, and like for a group that, you know, can show up to a photo shoot, like we also show up to races pretty intently. It's a pretty serious training group. The ideas on a training level are classical and well grounded in that approach on a running level. Yeah. But yeah, like we definitely are out there, and we definitely are out there to race. You know, it's interesting.
I think not the last time I saw you, because literally almost a year ago to the day we did our Morton panel.
Yeah.
Pretty much exactly a year ago. But I think the last time I saw you running was on the West Side Highway, and you were coming down from Central Park. You were going south. I was heading north alone. But I saw you with your crew out there, and it was just so nice to see like you guys like, all right.
Yeah, it's been a tough year in 2020. I've been I spent most of the year out of the United States in Mexico City with my family, and like working on this training camp with Herman. But a couple times this fall I have been able to get back to New York and reunite with the squad. And man, we ran together last weekend, did our route through Prospect Park, and now of course this latter day running boom in the COVID era, like the park is packed and all that.
Wild.
But I was with my guys. I came through with like 3 guys, and you know, the guys like in the squad, they were happy to see me, but they were happy to like a chance to beat up on me. So perfect casual run. And then we're just like finishing up the run at like 6-minute pace for no reason, except because of these guys. And we're just pouring on the gas, running through Prospect Park. And, you know, folks are watching, like, you know, you don't really see that happening. I mean, maybe like guys run faster, but then they're running at 5 a.m. And we were coming through like 11 a.m. just like casual stroller o'clock dumping, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So I do like that. And you know, honestly, Bex, like when I started Black Roses NYC, or well before I started Black Roses NYC, I had been in other kind of like straightforward New York City clubs and all that. Loved it. And it was awesome to kind of be in that New York Roadrunners circuit. But I used to like look at Central Park Track Club. That was like the coolest club. And then like North Brooklyn Runners came out and like they were cool, and you know, spray painting logos on their jerseys. And like I was like, oh man, it would be so cool. What would it take to dethrone these legendary New York City institutions and be part of the people's hearts on Marathon Sunday? Like for me, one of my highest aspirations would be for Black Roses NYC, as small as the squad is, to feel like it was like the people's team. You know, you're always going to have someone at your office running for the corporate team, and you're always going to have like a rich person running for the New York Athletic Club.
Yeah.
But you know, I had this experience, my first marathon. One of the other things, in addition to my poor pacing strategy and overconfidence and lack of experience, that tough combination, is that I also made the decision to print the name of my neighborhood on the singlet. Like that's what you would do.
Yeah.
Fort Greene. It was in the same font, like Fort Greene. Came over the brick because I thought, okay, cool. When I go through this little neighborhood of Fort Greene, I'm going to get some encouragement, to your point. I came across the bridge. I had dreads down to my waist, a beard, and this black singlet that just said Fort Greene in white. I got it done at Jerry Cosby, across the street from Madison Square Garden. Still have the singlet. First 2 miles is chill on the bridge. The helicopter's overhead. I'm on the New York Times. I'm good. And I hit Bay Ridge. And all of a sudden, this white cop just says, "Okay, Fort Greene." And I was like, yo, white cops is out here cheering for me? What the hell? And every neighborhood, every mile of the race, I had people cheering for me on Fort Greene. And I know you are like, you're a nice type. You want all the cheering and all that. I got so much energy that it just drained out of me, right? I didn't know, I had never experienced that. And that's why I was like, oh my gosh, everybody in New York knows somebody from Fort Greene. Like everybody in New York knows this little neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've been pushing every year. I want everybody in New York to feel like they know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody in Black Roses.
Wow. I think that's pretty doable. I'll be back.
Let's schedule some marathons first. Let's schedule some marathons first, and then we're back to work.
I just saw the Boston Marathon email.
Yeah.
Next year's already postponed.
Yeah, I had just started planking. I had just got some consistency, and I got that email, and I just opened up another bottle of wine. So I was like, okay. Yo, 2 weeks ago, remember Citius Magazine? Shout out Citius Magazine and shout out Marathon. They publish that schedule, and they have all the races scheduled in the fall, and then Boston was out there like April, whatever. Yeah. And I was like, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
So I'm out there getting it together, like just low key. I'm not letting anybody know I'm running my little mile as consistent, like working my little hills. Okay. Yeah. I got that email today. I was like, all right.
Let's just go back to where we were.
Back on the couch, like got it and like fell on the couch, like I'm good.
Dude, I've literally been doing the same the past like few weeks. Starting to crank the miles back up, like, all right.
Couple strides.
Testing out like distance over half, like how am I feeling? Trying to like crank the pace down. I fully got that email today and was like, I wasn't gonna drink all week. Hey.
Same. Oh my God. Trying to clean up my act.
Yeah, it's one of those things of like, I keep getting these, do a virtual race. And I'm like, I've said this to everybody who keeps asking me, shout out to anybody who has done a virtual race. You are better than me. I am literally like, not interested. I'm like, no, I'm good because.
I just don't understand it.
No, the pressure of a marathon, I hate as much as I love. And I need that to drive me. I need there to be a start line. I need to be jostling. I need to be looking around being like, yo, I see one other woman here. So boys, watch out. I'm coming through. Right. I'm not just going to step out of my apartment and be like, okay, honey, see you at 26.2. Like,
right. That's just a long run. Me and my guys up in the country, when I lived upstate New York, that's just a Sunday.
Yeah. Like yesterday, I ran 13.1. It was coincidental. It happened to be 13.12. And I got people like, congratulations. I'm like,
no, stop.
On what? Like I didn't do a race. I'm really sorry. I'm like, thank you. I really appreciate the love. But like, it was just a run. I literally just left the house and was like, oh, cool. I'm just going to go for a run and I'll be home. But honestly, that like New York City Marathon, people are like watching this and will have done it, and like high fives to you guys all around, because
I respect it, but also like given my senior citizen status in the community, I can't let these young guys off the hook. So I have to admit, I have been trolling some of the young guys out there, giving them a hard time, guys who run their little virtual races and all that. I got love for them, but I got to let them know, come on, guys. It's not that, guys. So
yeah,
I've been going in the opposite direction. I've just been kind of like putting fake little training videos up, so why all these young dudes are like doing their workouts and really kind of like messaging that they're unlocking the marathon.
Mhm.
I'm just kind of like posting little exercise with kettlebells or planking, you know, only
Why?
posting to Strava like once a week, like one run a week
Yeah.
in the 9-minute pace in the hills, you
Yeah.
know?
You're in some good hills.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Now it's
know.
wild.
I think my biggest piece of advice for everybody this year has been like, I haven't been racing that long. I still don't call myself a professional. Anyway, not a professional. You know what I mean? Like, I never say I'm racing. You said that at the start. I just show up. I'm like, what will be, will be. I love running. I'm just going to go out. But I also love running. Like, love the sport and the hobby. And even though it's part of my job, I'm not a paid professional athlete. And I have loved having the zero pressure. Once I was like, damn, shit, this race is not going to happen. I'm not going to get a medal. Boo hoo. That passed pretty quick. You know, the tequila came out. And you're like, cool, I can relax because let's hope, touch all the wood and fingers crossed, that this is going to be different at some point in the future. We are going to get back our races as we knew them. And that is when my body's going to be like, thank you. Thank you for that rest, taking your foot off the gas, still training because I still love running. I'm not going to stop running.
Right.
But I haven't like had that pressure of racing a virtual marathon or, you know what I'm saying? Like, just enjoy.
It's tough. It's tough. Other folks, you know how it is. I mean, folks want or think they want what we got. And like, so you really can't tell people about the pleasures of getting out of shape, you know? But the thing about getting out of shape is that, man, and once you've been doing it for a while, getting out of shape, the pleasure of getting back into shape is sublime. I know maybe a lot of folks who is tuning into your podcast don't even know what I'm talking about. But I got to tell you, when that email canceled Boston today and it just like drew out the process for getting back even more, now that I'm already like the hunger's back, I was like, cool, as long as it takes, that's awesome. Because it's just a steady build. I mean, for me, when I had my real breakthrough a couple years ago, you know, later in life, to run 69 minutes and a half was wild, you know, well into my 40s. It really kind of came after a long time of just like steady jogging, you know? Yeah, I was training with some amazing athletes, you know, in Black Roses at the time. And that kind of discipline kind of kept it mixed up. But also, like, I was doing a huge amount of cardiovascular recruitment with steady jogging. You know, it was the Kipchoge era. And you just, you know, you really got to like pay attention to what they say about Kenyan training, you know, like a lot of slow jogging and what happens. And so for me, I was just out there jogging. And then I'd hit the track and train with Caitlin Phillips or train with Tom Mackay and Daniel McQuan and Black Roses or whatever. And then hit. And then when it came time to do it, I did have like peak benchmark sessions where I just wanted to burn myself all the way down to the ground. And so I'd call up like a much more accomplished runner to like drag me through a 10-mile tempo that I had already built to over my 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 over the course of 2 months. So when it came time to it on a Thursday morning in the middle of the work week, I could call up a homie and be like, hey, meet me in Williamsburg. I need you to, you know, take me through 10 miles, just us, like no drama, all out, you know? That was cool, but like, that doesn't last forever. And for me to, And I think we're in this moment now where there's been a new shoe release and there's been another excitement about a race and this pursuit of things. And that's all great, but it doesn't last forever. And this year has been an opportunity for folks like you and I to like just step off the train a little bit. I mean, I used to call it almost like the axis of evil. For me at our level, to get automatic entry into Boston and New York, I'm running Boston and New York every year. I just told you I'm never going to not do it, but it doesn't leave so much space for getting in shape for the Red Hook crit and like whooping people's ass with the Red Hook crit.
Yeah.
You know, like getting in shape for Boston doesn't really prepare you for the Comrades Marathon. You know, getting in New York City Marathon shape doesn't really get you ready for cross country season in Van Cortlandt Park and going up to Mayor's Cup in Boston. I mean, you have an amazing New York City Marathon, you recover, you think you're in shape, and then you go out to New York Roadrunners Cross Country Championships at Van Cortlandt. 3 weeks later, you get your doors blown off.
Oh my God, you're stuck in the mud, literally.
The ego gets a wild drubbing. Like you've got the engine a little bit, but like not at the level that you were 3 weeks before. So this whole reset has just been awesome, you know?
Yeah. So Boston would have been your next one if it was on?
Oh.
Marathon.
Yeah, I would have done Boston. I think we were kind of seeing out here in Los Angeles when LA was going to be. And then I was kind of like asking a few guys, like, do I do Boston and LA, or do I do Boston or LA? Like, how do I choose? Do I kind of like, you know, put on for my new city, or do I go back to Boston and really join, you know, like the spiritual experience of running in what was, you know, once America's oldest foot race.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I know I'm a maximalist. I take things too far. So I was definitely probably planning to do both.
Of course.
And then I got to go back to Comrades. Shout out to South Africa. Yeah. I definitely got to go back to Comrades and be with the people for my third Comrades Marathon.
So you've done both ways now.
Yeah.
Which one would you do? What's the third one for you?
The next one next year is downhill again.
Downhill, okay.
Downhill's worse. Downhill's worse.
Actually, you're right. Everyone thinks that, but the downhill stabilization muscles, they fatigue so quick. And no, it's not.
It took me like 6 months to recover.
Yep. I remember seeing you after that. I think we had a brunch or something in New York when I was interviewing, I think.
Yeah.
Oh man. So what right, okay, aside from New York, because New York is amazing and we love it. What marathon race, let's start with that, would you say has given you the most teaching?
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed how obvious it is, but I did have a breakthrough marathon at the Berlin Marathon in 2017. Yeah. And so I learned a lot from the breakthrough because it came as the result of like months of diligent training, and the empirical nature of the course, and the bubble of hype that was around the Kipchoge era at that time.
We had a good track that year.
Yeah, it really made for like an intoxicating experience. I mean, Black Roses NYC, we went wild. We took like 20 people out there.
Yeah, you did.
You know,
when we were at that little like beer garden thing with the German crew, and you did that talk. Oh my God, it's incredible.
Yeah, no, Berlin really opened up, and like Berlin got a lot of love for.
Oh my gosh, I feel
Berlin definitely has a lot of love. Definitely has a lot of love for Rosen for sure.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Yeah, that was a great trip. I think that's one of my favorite races as well, Berlin 2017.
It was so wild. I mean, like on a performance level, because of the because of the rain, it was incredible. And I was wearing like these District Vision, like big bug glasses, and it was coming off of like a couple of years of like meditation work, and Max from District Vision and some of the meditations talks about seeing behind the eyes, and I was really like so zoned out for that race that I really spent much of the race in that meditative state, watching the race unfold from behind the eyes, and the rain on these black rose tinted lenses were just enhanced that effect. So it was really a wild mindfulness exercise. So yeah, I've had like good races and bad races, and you learn about marathoning from your mistakes as much as your successes. But I think to your point, to your question about what I learned from, I that was like a huge breakthrough, and it was just filled with so much wild energy. Like, I mean, I remember, I think I ran like a mile 18 or mile 20. I think I ran like a 5:20 mile.
You were flying. Unbelievable.
I was just in another zone. I wasn't feeling anything, you know, and I went, I caught up to this pack of like 20, you know how packs are at Berlin. Like I caught up to like a pack of 20 dudes jamming, and I was going so fast coming up on them that I was like, usually you come up on a pack and hold on, assess the situation, and kept moving. Yo, I was on my Autobahn shit. I came up on this pack, pulled to the side, and like surged and just went past 20 dudes, like at
Wow.
mile 21, 22. I was like, y'all, nah.
No.
I just kept going. It was like the most wild experience on a marathon level. It was like,
Yeah.
it was hectic. It was
The
hectic.
fear zone at kilometer 37, I just remember coming, you could hear it for miles, and then you're coming up on it, up on it, up on it, and it's there as you're making that massive right, big, wide, massive turn.
I took a wide right. I took a wide. I had to blow some kisses at that turn, yo.
Oh,
hey.
Yeah. I found a picture the other day of me coming through it, and I just like, you can, every time I see that photo, I just get this feeling of like, oh, I remember that, like feeling like I was a rock star coming through, because I was with Marco, like one of the main craft runners and one of the biggest crews in New York, in Berlin. But it was just, oh wow, that race. But those crazy dudes lay down and started doing push-ups. I was like, it's been great for 37. I'm off.
That's what I
do. What race would you do that you haven't done? Is there a race out there that Knox Robinson's like, one day I'm coming for you?
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's that cross country race in Italy that goes through people's barns and kitchens and shit. Have you seen that? Yeah, Cinque Terre. Yeah, I gotta do that.
I've done that. It's epic. You gotta do it.
I gotta do that. So I think about that every year.
88,000 steps of like, not like nicely smooth New York stoop steps, cobble, like bricks in the mud, like countryside steps. 88,000 of them.
That's crazy. I mean, stuff like that. Like, I came up to this stage a few years ago where I was like, man, all these races and all the things, like when I was a kid growing up and reading Runner's World magazine and track and field news and all that, you know, I just was like trying to find the results or trying to find like how the elites did it, how my heroes did it. And I always disregarded like the boring lifestyle articles about like whatever, like in cycling, you know, all the ads in the back of Bicycling magazine for like a 7-day bicycle tour of the wine country of France, and we'll take your bags around for you and meet you at a chalet each night. When I was a kid into cycling, I was like, that's the wackest idea. That's boring. And now it's like pure fantasy. Like, I'm gonna ride my bike every day and go to vineyards and drink all day, and then you're gonna carry my bags, and we're gonna just keep up for a week. So all the stuff that I like overlooked back in the day as a kid when I was thinking about running the mile or the 2 mile or how to make the cross country team, now is like fantasy to me. So comrades, to me, no kid's thinking about that. And now it's like, it's in my heart. It's fantasy. And honestly, on that note, the Street Chinmoy races, like to run like a 6-day or a 10-day race, like Ted Corbett did and like so many legends have done, I kind of think, maybe not more than anything, but I'm definitely waiting to take the edge off my front end speed over the next, and then have a justifiable excuse to go out and run the 10-day race out in Queens.
Oh my God, don't. If Sanjay gets wind of that, he is going to be the happiest man.
He's already you already know. They're recruiting. You already know.
I know. Every time we brought it up, like him and I had a chat, he's like, one day Knox will run it. Like,
okay. So he already knows.
He does.
I gotta plan it out now though, because I gotta do it my way, right? Like I gotta make sure that like there's a DJ. I gotta make sure the soundtrack is there. You know, I gotta make sure that like my kind of food. First of all, much respect to all the people who cook out. Sanjay cooks, but who cook for that race. Like the food is amazing. I've gone out and watched a couple times and snuck in the kitchen and had some food. So I would definitely be eating all the Street Chamoy family food. I would definitely be doing that. But like in my little tent, I would have to have like a vibe set up. Miles Davis playing. I'd have to have like vibes and energy going. Same like Marathon des Sables. I want to run Marathon des Sables, but man, looking at the photos and these people, you know, they're all English. They're all like you know, special whatever y'all got over there, like intense dudes with the boots on and all that.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I gotta go out there and like have a tent with like some silk flowing and Miles Davis playing when I come out every night. You know what I mean? Bitches Brew, Sketches of Spain. I'm eating my kind of food. I can't be over there like dudes with the looking like they're in Afghanistan and all that. Like, yo, guys, you're taking it too seriously. Let's
with the what do you call it? The astronaut food.
Right, yo, guys. Let's.
Like,
There's another way. There's another way to do this, guys. It doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah, very much so. Oh my God, that's the way to do those races. Then that's the mindset to have, I think, of those races is that unless you are going in to win them, great, but only one person can win. But is that person going to remember it? Are you going to do it for the experience? And I think anything more than a marathon distance, everyone can experience that. But if you're going more than one day, make it something that you're going to remember, not just black out about and like be like, I get the medal.
Right. On to the next.
Yeah. No, exactly. you gotta make it worth your while. All right, last thing. You have 2 kids, right?
Yes.
And one thing, if you could write down, stupid for you. I mean, you could write a book of stuff to tell them, but if you could write down one lesson for them each about running, what would it be? And it can be different because I know they're different in their outlooks as your kids, ages too.
I took my daughter, my 3-year-old daughter, I took her for her first run 2 days ago.
Oh.
Yeah. And today she got up and she's like, yo, Dad, we're going to go running again today. Remember? It's not, he's like, yesterday you said we're going to go tomorrow, and it's not yesterday anymore. It's today. So we're going running again today, right? Remember? And I was like, wow. Okay. So for my daughter who's ready to like go running after this chat with you, I would say patience, 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 patience. It's good marathon advice too.
Yes.
And for my son, Raul, who's 17 and has good speed, he's a soccer player. He's got that soccer fitness. I would say give it a try for sure.
Amazing. I can't wait to see them both absolutely just own whatever it is that they go on to do, be it running, be it music, be it meditation, whatever it is. They're going to have a very good teacher in Knox Robinson behind them. That's for sure.
After I'm done, after I slow down, like let me be done, and then they can do whatever they're gonna do. But let me finish up this moment. Let me run my little times. Let me blow kisses at the cheer station. You know.
That's one of my favorite memories of running with you is Boston.
Yeah.
I was like, just when I saw you, I was blowing. I was like, screw this. 3 miles to go. I was like, I can't.
Yeah.
This is awful. And I just look up and I'm like, okay. I know him. I really like him. I'm just going to get to Knox. And it was just like.
Right. I was like, keep going.
We were both just like, oh,
right.
What's going on? And you just looked up at me. You just blew me a kiss. And we're like, go. I'm like, okay. Oh my God. But that, your signature. We'll stay on forever. You've got a
Bella ciao, Bella ciao.
Oh man, well, I'm excited to see what comes for 2021 for you, and to continue just learning from you. I know we don't talk a lot, but I think I always say to you, I learn a lot from you whenever I see you put stuff out there. So I'm eternally grateful for your voice and your lessons that you share.
The feelings are mutual. You're have always been an inspiration. You've been a good friend, and a real friend. And yeah, I love the energy and the effervescence that you bring to the community, the freshness of it all. And yeah, I look forward to getting some miles with you. I'm building this training camp in Mexico that'll be done at the end of this year. So up in the mountains. So definitely want to have you guys out for that. And then come out to LA and like, let's get in these hills out here too.
Oh my God, we're there. Oh man, thank you.